I see quite a few people already joining. Bear with. Be starting in like a couple minutes. Uh, there we go.
Ah, hello.
Hi Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Is it working? Okay, good.
Yeah. Awesome. Should we wait a little bit for wait for people to get in, or
Yeah, wait a few minutes just for everyone to join. And just want to introduce what we're doing, so people
yeah,
know.
yeah. Welcome to our live Q&A about life and study as a student at Kent. I'm James. I'm doing drama and history as a joint honours degree in year two, and I'm at the Canterbury campus.
Yeah, so I'm Jasmine. I'm in my third year now, which is a bit scary. And I study at the Midway campus and I do criminal justice and criminology.
Yeah. We have quite a few people already joining. It's quite impressive actually. But yeah, we'll be taking some questions today that you have about the university as well as what student life is like here and studying. Um, Usually we start off with a couple frequently asked questions. Do you want to start off with one?
Yeah, let me just. So I think something that people always ask me is how I decided to study at Kent. So for me, I really knew what I wanted to do and what my career aspirations were, but I wasn't really set on a particular university. And when I got my results, I called the University of Kent up, and the people I spoke to were just so helpful. They almost fell into coming to Kent because everyone else was just taking so long to respond. But within a few hours, I had like all the information I needed from Ken and everything about like my course and like genuine how to like, get into it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a go, and I'm really glad that I did.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, with me, when I decided to study here, it was mostly because the course that I'm on is quite a not necessarily specialist one, but there's not very many that actually select the options that I wanted to go for. So there were like three or four that I could choose from, but Kent was already one of my options for drama anyway, if that wasn't what I would be able to do. And luckily, I had some friends that were here, and actually a professor that I knew. So I was able to come and see the campus properly, and was just completely blown away by it. And I was completely sold on it just from the campus and the Templeman Library alone.
Yeah. Um, okay, so that kind of covers what attracted you to Kent. I think for me,
Yeah.
it was the helpfulness of the staff, but it was also like the area is really nice. I'm on the Medway campus. That's like I live in Rochester at the moment. We've got the cathedral, and it's really pretty. Um, but also, I think it's like the perfect distance where it's really close to London. It's got really good transport links, so I can go back home, but it's far enough away that I feel like I've moved away from my family. Um, so I think that's one of the things that attracted me to Kent, and then also like the TEF Golds, that teaching thing that they had. Because for me, it wasn't just having a university that's got a really good reputation. It's when I go there, what I actually get from it, and also knowing that like people would actually give me like value for money and give me like proper teaching was really a priority for me.
Mm. Yeah, that's some really good points. So student life is amazing for people who want to know. I'm in my first year music at Medway, and the lectures and the lessons are great. The people are amazing, and everyone's so supportive. Oh, that's great to hear.
Oh, that's really good.
Mm. Uh, what are some other ones here? What do you like living most about living in Canterbury and Medway? Um, for me, it's definitely the high street of Canterbury is just gorgeous. It's quite a small city, so for me, because I come from the countryside, I was initially quite scared of of like living in a bigger city, and that idea quite overwhelmed me. But Canterbury is like such a nice size where everything's not too big, but there's enough to keep you busy for years, pretty much, finding different things about it, as well as there's a great student atmosphere here as well, both from University of Kent and Canterbury Christchurch. Canterbury just wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for the students that are also here as well. What about Medway?
Yeah, it's really lovely. I think for me, I'd never been to this area before, but Kent is just such a beautiful place in terms of architecture and stuff like that. And there is plenty to do, but what I really like is that there's a free bus to Canterbury anyway, so it's like you get two for the price of one. But then also the train to London is like half an hour or less, which means that you've got so much opportunity to sort of go out and do things on your days off. Medway itself is actually like really nice. I think I just saw a question. It's is Medway an affordable place to live? I think compared to a lot of other universities, like for example London one, because I was actually initially going to go to a London university, and I looked at the rent prices there, and we're definitely a lot cheaper than those. Um,
Yeah.
I think one of the things about Medway that I really like is there's like a big Asda where you can do your shop right next to campus, so that's really nice. In terms of student accommodation, it is a student town, so all the surrounding towns, there's another uni really close by as well, an arts uni. Like there's so many different types of student accommodation that will fit your budget. So you can have student houses. We've got Liberty Keys, which is like really affordable, and different rooms for that as well. Um, but yeah, it's really like from what I found, it's quite a nice place to be if you're looking for sort of student budgets. Like cinema has like student prices as well. A lot of restaurants will do student deals
Mm,
and stuff like that. So yeah, it is really affordable in terms of in comparison to other places, like, and also if you're sensible, if you like go out every night without a budget, then obviously it's a bit different to if you if you try and manage your
mm,
money a little bit. How
yeah.
about Canterbury?
Um, Quite a lot of similar things actually as well. There are like so many student discounts that go on around the place. To some of the nicer places as well, they tend to offer student discounts, which makes going there as a student really a really good idea. Draper's comes to mind specifically, which otherwise wouldn't necessarily be affordable to students. So it's really great that there are local venues that are very conscious that there are lots of students that are living in these areas that really benefit from those kinds of discounts. Um, there's also the rent is also very reasonable. My house at the moment, I'd say it's about a good middling kind of price, but all bills are paid for in my one. But of course, it's always about finding the right one for you. And there's a lot of options that are quite near the university as well, which is really helpful. Unfortunately for me, it's a bit of a trek, but because of the bus system in Canterbury, it means that you're always at least a 5-10 minute walk away from a bus stop. So it's not been a massive issue even then.
Yeah, I think for me, like Medway is very well connected. So in my first year, I lived about 5-10 minutes walk away from campus. And in my second year, I branched out a little bit further, probably about 15 minutes walk from campus. And this year, I now live on Rochester High Street, which is about 10-minute drive or a 10-minute bus, and there's bus stop right outside my flat. But yeah, it's all really well connected around here. I find, and the bus companies here do a lot of student discounts as well, so you can get like a student pass. So that's really helpful.
Yeah, yeah, we have the student pass has saved my life. Like being able to go out to the different areas as well has been incredible. Like it saved me so much money just being able to go down to Margate and Whitstable. It's been great having a bus pass. Definitely get a bus pass if you're studying in a city. Uh, Moving on to another question.
It's easy
How
to
do you
make
manage your
friends at
finances
Kent.
as a oh,
Oh,
hello?
sorry, I think it just lagged. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah,
now.
okay. Right,
Cut out
reset.
for a
What
second.
was your question?
Um, oh, let's see here. We can look at the list. How do you manage your finances as a student?
Okay, so obviously as a student you can apply for student loan, which is assessed on the basis of your parents' income, but you do get a fair bit My first year completely covered my rent and had a little bit of spending money left over. And then throughout the years, it has gone down slightly. So do be prepared for that when you make financial decisions. But I think as long as I think always plan as if you're going to not have enough money. It's like, it's a weird thing to say, but if you're careful and you go, okay, I'm going on a night out, but I'm only putting £50 into my spending account or something like that, then you know sort of what you've got to work with. And for me, I did get a part-time job like alongside university, and then I picked up a second one to be fair. But I think it's really good to have a part-time job because then you've got a steady stream of income. Student loan comes through in three chunks, so if you accidentally blow through your chunk of money, you're not going to get another one until in a few months' time. But if you do get like a proper job, even if it's a few hours a week, then you'll have that steady income coming in as well. And I usually treat that as sort of spending money or saving money. How about you?
Um, yeah, I save money. Yeah, no, it's just a joke. Yeah, it's a very good idea to keep on top of your student loan because it is a lifesaver. A lot of a lot of people talk about obviously students having hard financial times, and that is very true. So it is always a great idea to have a part-time job to also subsidize the loan because if you aren't wise with it, you will run out. It's not going to last you the entire time, unfortunately, but it definitely is a massive help to have that maintenance loan in. I've just seen a question. Hello, I want to just ask how diversity is at the community in the University of Kent and what the majority of international students of the current university. That's a really good question. Last year, I was friends with mostly students on the Erasmus scheme, which was the European Union's sort of student scheme, where students come over and study for a year, and then our students are allowed to go over and study for a year. I think that this is the last year where that batch, I think this year's batch is the last ones of that, but there is a significant amount of international students that study here. Myself, half of my house are international students, and it's an incredibly international university. I mean, I think the tagline is something like, was it Europe's university or something?
Yeah, a European
Yeah,
university, something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
It is definitely, it does what it says on the tin there. There is a great amount of diversity, and it really enriches life on the campus. And I wouldn't have had half of the life experiences that I've had if I hadn't met a lot of these people. So yeah, I would say there's a great deal of diversity, and I think it's only going to get better. Uh, just looking through if there's any questions that we've potentially missed. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the question box, by the way. Um, are Margate and other coastal areas reasonably close? And if so, do many students tend to go there? Yeah, I think so. There's at Canterbury bus station, at least, there's a bus called the Triangle Bus, which goes to three local towns. I think it's Whitstable, Herne Bay, and Canterbury. 1 second, I'll have to look that up. Bear with. Yeah, Whitstable, Canterbury, and Herne Bay. So that's a really good way of getting to and from the coastal cities. Margate has its own bus that comes from Canterbury, the 8X bus, I believe, which I get that quite a lot. Which I get that quite a lot because I have a lot of family that live in Margate. But yeah, no, the coastal towns around here are very accessible, and in the summer especially, they're great places to relax. Like maybe if you've got a free week during your exams to relax, I definitely recommend that. Margate's got a great scene for students. There's Dreamland, there's arcades, there's the Turner Gallery. So yeah, I would definitely recommend visiting these places because they are really nice.
yeah, I agree. I mean, for Medway, the best beach to go to is just under an hour's train away. But if I don't know if anyone's been to Broadstairs, it feels like you're abroad. Like the beach is really, really nice, like a sandy beach. And in the summer, I think we went down there nearly every week because it is just so nice. It's like going on holiday. But yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I
Any
was
other
just putting the
questions?
question there. Not yet, but if anyone does have any, feel free to just put them in the chat, and we'll try and answer the best as we can. Uh, let's go back to the FAQ for a second. Is it easy to make friends at Kent? I mean, it depends on the person a lot of the time. There are so many great opportunities for you to be sociable at university. There's, what is it, 3 student bars, maybe
Yeah.
even more. They always are hosting events, as well as different societies you can join. There are countless societies that you can join. A lot of the course societies are great ways of meeting like-minded individuals studying the same thing. I personally made quite a few friends in my history society that I do. So yeah, I'd say that the social aspect of Kent Uni is really, really good as well.
Yeah, I agree. So, for the first year, I think it's very easy to make a lot of friends. So you tend to make like a larger friendship group, because for Medway, at least 90% of the students will be living in Liberty Keys, which is a giant block of student housing. And in the first year, what I found is in the first few months, you could just rock up to anyone's flat and there'd be a party. And then you could just sometimes I find myself like with one person I knew and then about 6, 7 other people just like sitting in the kitchen playing like drinking games or other games if you don't drink. Um, and yeah, it is so easy to make friends. But what I found actually was that I made so many friends that it got to a point where my friendship group was just narrowing down where I get close with some, and then others would kind of drop off because I didn't really have time for them. And also, with when COVID happened, a few people I just lost touch with. But there's like so many people that you encounter, even just people you live with, is a really good source of like friendships. But then you have people on your course, any societies you join, and obviously I got part-time jobs, so I met loads of friends up here through that. So it's you meet so many new people when you come to university. For me, it wasn't an issue of making friends; it was an issue of um, deciding who to spend time with almost. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it as long as you're open to meeting people. So like, when you come to university,
Mm.
just be friendly, like leave your door open in your halls and stuff like that. And for me, it was within 5 minutes, someone knocked on my door and said, "Hi, do you want to go play table tennis?" So yeah, it just kind of works out quite naturally.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. That's quite a similar experience to what I had in Darwin, which I think has a bit of a reputation as being where all of the party animals are. And from what I gathered from my first year, I think that does tend to be the case quite a bit. But yeah, like you said, in your first year, you do end up meeting so many people, and you do fall out of contact with some of them, which is sad. But at the same time, the friends that you do make are going to last you for years to come.
Yeah.
What else is there? Have you been involved in any societies? I mean, I briefly touched on this, but yes, I am in the Ultimate Frisbee Society, the Stand-Up Society, and the History Society at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm really bad. There are so many societies, there really are. But for me, I just couldn't really find the time to go to any. I think it's a really good place to go if you've got an interest or you've got a bit of spare time or you want to make friends. But because I picked up a part-time job, I was doing that most of my spare time. And then the people that I had met at my job, in my free time, we were going out to like dinner, we were going out to do like watch movies, go to the beach, stuff like that. So for me, I didn't really access societies, even though there were so many that I could have, just because I wasn't necessarily interested. But it's definitely an option that's there for people, and they are really easy to join. I did consider a few in Freshers Week, but I just never really got around to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, first year I didn't really consider joining any because there just wasn't a lot going on. It was all online, really.
Oh
But
yeah,
this year, it's definitely all of them have picked up quite a lot, and there's loads of events that go on, always keeping you on your feet. A lot of the societies often have nights out where they all go out drinking together, which unfortunately I miss a lot because I'm usually busy on Wednesday evenings, which is when everything is always going on. But yeah, I would definitely recommend going to some of them because you meet so many people that you wouldn't have otherwise met. Because you know, when everyone's studying, most people just keep their head down, and then you don't really talk to them after your module's over. But when you're actually sort of at these societies talking to people on a regular basis throughout the year, then you get to know them a lot better than you otherwise would if you just met them in class. Okay, I think I've just got a question that came through. Is there a good music slash nightlife scene in Kent slash Canterbury? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of local pubs, notably I think the Shakespeare, that I think every Friday or Saturday have a live band come in and perform music, which is a lot of fun to go to. They play some really good music in there, as well as the Lady Luck as well. Often has a live band playing in there. So there's definitely a good music scene to get involved in if that was your sort of thing. And nightlife. Well, I'm not really the best person to talk about that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so in Medway, there's pretty much two main clubs that are sort of within walking distance really to campus. So we've got Tappington and we've got Casinos nightclub. They both do student nights, and it's actually so Tappington will do Monday student night, and then if you know you're feeling like going out twice in one week, then you've got Thursday night is student night at Casinos. So it's good because they obviously give you reduced prices on tickets. In the first year, I was going out a lot clubbing. I think that's something that people tend to have an experience like the first year is quite relaxed. Um, Nowadays, I mean, I still do go out, but I wouldn't say that clubbing is my priority. But I'm much more down to like go out and have dinner and drinks. But the deep end on campus, the Medway campus, it's we have a lot of people that do music that will put on shows and stuff. Usually it used to be like a Tuesday night, and it'd be live music. Sometimes they had a big like screen and they put football on, and that's quite a nice place to go if you're not really looking to go out dancing in a club. It's like a night out where you can sit down, just have a drink, chill out, and like watch music or watch football or whatever's on at the time. And obviously the bar's really cheap because it's our own student bar. And then on the high street, so Rochester High Street, I know there are a few open mic nights, like at the George Vaults, which is actually where I work, and a few other pubs, so that's always fun. But yeah, and also because London's so close, like having an odd night out in London is definitely a possibility as well, and something that I do. So yeah, there's definitely a range of nightlife and music for sort of what kind of nights out you're interested in, but also just the typical like kitchen flat parties are actually quite nice if you're looking to have a night out but not necessarily spend too much money. You can just sit there with a few mixers, play a few card games. But yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I don't frequent it very much, but the nightlife in Canterbury is quite bustling. There's the venue, of course, which is the student nightclub, which I've heard great things about. Definitely very good on Wednesdays, but unfortunately I'm never free on Wednesdays, so I've never really been able to try that out. There's also other places in town, but I think for a student, venue is usually the best place to go, because it's a lot safer than the other nightclubs, of course.
Yeah.
But if you are interested in branching out into town, there's the Tokyo Tea Rooms, there's the Cuban, and then Chemistry, which are the
I've been.
the yeah, the big three in Canterbury. Yeah, yeah. I can't really vouch for how good they are because I don't really go to them, but I just know about them. Uh, what other questions do we have here? Any questions in the box? Keep the questions coming through, by the way. If you have any. Um, just scrolling through the chat. I think I saw one up a bit earlier. Okay, I can't see it now. All right, let's just look at the FAQ. Are there any employability support at Kent? Uh, yeah, quite good employability support. There's the employability service, I think it's called.
Yeah, so
Um,
yeah, when I decided to look for a job through the University of Kent, I signed up to the employability scheme that we have. And first of all, they asked me to send along my CV to them, and they looked over it, gave me some feedback, edited it, so at least I know I've got a good CV. They also do mock interviews with you if you want to do that. And then I get like a weekly job alert, which I still haven't unsubscribed from. There's a good amount of jobs coming through for students. Some stuff that's not actually out there for other people, so just for students that they've put on now. We've got a bit earlier, so it gives you a good chance of getting a part-time job, and also just having that support to build your CV and practice for when you go out into the real world is really good, I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I haven't really utilized it as much as I should, but yeah, I've definitely used it. I mean, I've gotten this part from using the employability service, so it's definitely worth doing. And there's so many jobs that give you a lot of work experience for any future endeavors that you want to go into, especially if media marketing and creation is something that you're interested in. There's a great deal of that. There's also a lot of jobs as like student helpers as well. That's a great role that a lot of people, my year and your year, I think, fill, which is a great source of, just like if you have a weekend free to help out other students and you get paid for it, which is a great service, I think. As well as there are a lot of, well, we're all given academic advisors as well.
Yeah.
And I believe that they also give you some employability advice if you ask for it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
one, yeah, I've had a few meetings with where we discussed. I think he really helped me actually to discuss what I want to do after university, because I'm in my final year now. And he was just like, "Oh well, what are you thinking of doing?" And I was like, "Oh well, let me get back to you on that." And I went and I like looked around. And I was like, "You know what? Actually, I really know what I'm doing now." And then because obviously your academic advisors write your transcript, so it's a good idea to utilize that service and have a few informal chats with them a year, just to sort of let them know what you're thinking of doing with your life, I guess. But yeah, it's really good.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of support when it comes to what you're going to do after Kant as well, which is something that I greatly appreciate because a lot of places don't really have that kind of support, which I think is honestly some of the most important advice that you can possibly get, because obviously it's only going to last you about 3 years. So you want to know what you're going to do after that with your degree, which I think the university does a great job of actually showing you what you can do with it as well.
Yeah. Okay. Whilst we still have a few minutes left, I think a really good question to address is what the facilities are like at Kent. Um, So for me, I really like the fact that I can take a free bus into Canterbury whenever I want and go to the Templeman Library, which is a little bit bigger. But I think the Drill Hall Library, I think it's got something like it's the longest library in Europe or something like that. So it's like
Sorry, you
one.
cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry, let me repeat that. So the Drill Hall Library at Medway campus, it's I think one of the longest libraries in Europe or something like that. It's just one really long library with like loads of books and different study areas. I spend a lot of my time there now, especially in third year. But it's really nice. It's a really nice library. I think it's obviously I went to see other university libraries when I was looking around. It's obviously one of the nicer ones because I picked it. Um, but also it's got a library cafe right there, which is really good. Like the food there's really cheap, but it's really nice. Like you get really good paninis there, which I'm always buying even when I really shouldn't. But also I think the campus itself, it's got a lot of sort of informal eating areas where people will study with their laptops. You can eat and study at the same time, like the Pilkington building and the Deep End. So you can get yourself a coffee and stuff, which I think is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the facilities here are amazing as well. Obviously, we have the Templeman Library, which needs no introduction. It is massive. There's like a huge, vast source of information. And also, if you're studying something where you need primary sources for things, the Templeman also has a lot to offer there. Lots of historical artifacts, which as a history nerd is amazing. As well as the Gulbenkian Theatre and the Gulbenkian Cafe is amazing. I'm actually performing as part of my final popular performance in a couple of days. So there's great facilities to actually perform to others as well if you're doing a more performing arts kind of degree, which is amazing. Student restaurants and bars as well. I think we've already discussed them, are amazing here. Very reasonably priced, as well as having a lot of deals go on throughout the week. So there's a lot of value in there. What other facilities are there to talk about? There's I don't know about Medway, but there's also a medical practice that you can sign up to and visit, which definitely recommend you do that. I forgot in my first year. I've only started doing it now, and I'd recommend you get it done early because otherwise there are some complications. Not too bad though. Um, are there any other services in Medway?
I mean, because my course is very much essay writing, for me, the main place that I actually access is the library. But I've seen like the music equipment that we have and the music societies that we have that sort of congregate around the deep end. It looks like they've got really good facilities. And also we've got like a sports hall where like you can do your sports clubs and stuff, and that looks really nice. I'm not very sporty, so. But I also know we've got a lot of computer suites and access to like different rooms in the building. Like we've got a thing where if a room's not occupied and you want to do sort of private study, silent study, you can go into a room and just sit down and study, and no one's going to tell you like you can't, as long as there's not class in there, which is really nice. But yeah, no, I think it depends on your course what the facilities are, but from what I've seen, I think we cater to a lot of different courses and all our facilities tend to be quite good. But yeah, that's the best answer I can give.
That's a pretty good answer. Oh, I think we've got a question that's come in. What fun things can people do at Kent? Oh, I mean, pick whatever you want, really. There's so much that you can do. Yeah, I think there's the great thing about Kent is that there's a bit of something for everyone, I feel. If you're an athletic person, there's so many sports societies that you can join. If you're more into performing, there's T24, which is the drama society, which hosts regular performances, which are some really, really good ones as well. Fun things as well. Days out to different areas in Kent is always a great thing to do. Like we said before, Margate, Whitstable, Herne Bay are great places to visit. Canterbury Nightlife, as we've already said, is a great time. Yeah, there are a vast array of fun things, and the best way that I could recommend to find them is just go out there and look for them. You'll definitely find something that you love doing if you look hard enough and you know what you want.
Yeah, I think I very much agree. There's so much to do. I think for me, I love to go out and just have a meal once in a while. There's so many restaurants on Rochester High Street, and right next to the campus, there's quite a few restaurants, a cinema, bowling alley. I think there's always something going on, something to do. Obviously, Kent hosts a lot of events as well. I think on Canterbury campus, there's just a cinema, they're like a student cinema. But yeah, there is just so much to do that it's not so much finding something to do, it's choosing what to do out of all the options that you have.
Exactly.
But yeah. Well, unfortunately, we are running out of time. So if you have any other questions, you can also like message university or on Instagram or one of the other social accounts. But if not, we'll see you next time. And
Yeah,
thanks
see you
for
next
tuning
time. Hope you have a great week. Bye.
in. Bye, everyone. Thank you.